Hi, I'm Jeff Anderson, and I want to express to all of you how sorry I am I can't be there with you. I have been following your journey. I have been admiring your courage. I have been touched by it, and feel like we share so much in common. I have been honored to work with survivors of abuse by clergy and others now for 27 years. I have been inspired by your courage and all those advocates with you that have aligned to do what you are doing and what we are doing, to do what we can to protect the children first, and do what we can to make sure that those kids that are still at risk are protected. Because one thing that we know, one thing that we have learned, one thing in this journey shared is that we have to, and that we are now given the chance, now that the silence has been broken by you and others, to protect other kids. And so thank you for what you've done. Thank you for finding the courage to break the silence, to take the action you have by joining together, by mobilizing, by organizing, by standing up, by speaking out, and by doing what you have and doing what you will be doing, and hopefully with us and some of us in the future. I'm honored to speak to you. I'm honored to share the journey, and dang it, I wish I was with you. Anyway, I am in spirit. I'd just like to share with you how it is that I first came into this odyssey. 27 or more years ago, actually, some parents came into my office and shared how their son had been abused by a Catholic clergyman, how they entrusted him into their home, and how he had suffered in silence for years and years and years and only recently broken it. They went first to the bishop to report it, and the bishop stood mute, did nothing, and simply sent them a check and refused to take any action. They came into my office and reported it to me, and I was dismayed and bewildered by how this could be, and went immediately to the police with them, who told us the statute of limitations had expired and was too late. Went immediately to the diocese. The archdiocese demanded his removal, and they didn't do anything and wouldn't do anything, so we sued. At that time, we could bring a lawsuit, and nobody needed to know, and did not know. And I forced immediately the disclosure from the archbishop, the bishops, all the hierarchs, and learned after 9 months of asking questions and taking depositions that they were lying to us, that they were committing perjury under oath when they denied that they had known about this priest. We got a confidential source who said they did know and they're lying, Jeff. And we got that testimony under oath. They immediately made an offer to settle this case, and that case in 1984 for enormous amounts of money, but they required and demanded a gag order on him and on me, a confidentiality provision. And they said that's what they usually do. I was shocked and dismayed to hear that it was usual, and that means that would happen before, and I was outraged. Fortunately, the courageous survivor with whom I worked then, Greg, gave me permission to say no and to tell them where they can take that offer and that gag order and put it where the sun don't shine. And that's what we did. And as soon as we did, I called the media, and since that day, I've been honored to work with him and other survivors to do what we can to break the silence, to break the cycle of secrecy that is imposed by the hierarchy in the Catholic Church hierarchy and other institutions like it that require gag orders, that keep secrets, that protect themselves and their own reputation, and they save themselves and their own face at the peril of the kids. You all know how it works, and you all know how they work, and you all know that together we and you are making a difference. And we're making a difference more in the lives of those kids for whom we speak every day. Those kids that need you to find that voice, to speak together, to mobilize and to organize, and do what we can in some way every single day to protect them. And after we have exposed the offenders in the community, and after you and we have exposed those that have protected the offenders in the community, then we can move on to developing strategies for protection and for healing, for justice, and for closure. Protection first, that means exposure. Second, we move to disclosure, and that is forcing them to come forth with all the documents and secrets that have been kept over the years. And then third, we can go to closure. Closure can mean a lot of different things. It can mean using the legal system to hold them accountable, using the legal system, working with the media and other survivors to expose the systemic cover-up that we know exists. It can also mean requiring them to do the right thing and do better in the future. It can also mean accountability, and accountability can mean and means some measure of justice that requires them to be held responsible for the sins of the past, financially and otherwise, for the sins of the past so they don't repeat them in the future. And until they are held accountable, both in the crucible of the courtroom and in the court of public opinion, the cover-up continues, the complicity in the crimes continue, and it is because of your voices, and it is because of your courage, it is because of the support that you get from other survivors, family members, mental health professionals, and the organizations that put together this conference and your meeting, which is historic, that it's all happening. And so thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for having broken the silence. Thank you for having the courage to speak up and out. And there are many ways to do it, but in the final analysis, it's not about sex and clergy sexual abuse. It's about power and the abuse of power. And those that think that clergy sex abuse is about sex are the same people that think the Bataan death marches are about marching. This is about power and the abuse of it. And survivors organizing to regain and recover their power, to protect their kids and find their own power, and in recovery of power using the legal system, using the media, using the resources given each of us, bonding together. It's happening. I'm genuinely grateful to be a part of it in your journey and the survivors across the globe. It began here in St. Paul, Minnesota, where my offices are, from which I speak to you, that I first discovered the power of recovery and breaking the silence and the cover-up. And since that time, in the U.S., we have seen a growing awareness, and now it's breaking out across Europe. Just got back from Brussels and London, and had hoped to be with you in Australia, and mobilizing with you and others that share this journey across the globe. There's a lot of work to do. The good news is that you and others have found your voice, and we're working together to mobilize and organize. And I want to really give some special acknowledgments to some special people that are with you. Tom Doyle is and has remained the most powerful voice of truth and speaker of truth from the inside of the critical culture that has been heroic in his willingness to sacrifice career and selfless journey for child protection. And Tom, thank you for being there with the folks in Australia and for being there for so many survivors for so many decades. We are deeply grateful to you. Nikki Wells, you are amazing, an inspiration. Survivors Australia, Survivors of Clergy Abuse Australia, and Brave Hearts, and all the organizations that are coming together to bring your collective power to bear is making a big difference. And I'm just grateful to all of you. For all the advocates that are working with the survivors, all the family members working with the survivors, supporting the survivors, and all those bringing your collective power to bear. We are making this happen. And it is happening as we speak. And your gathering in Australia, and I've been following you, we've been following you, and the good work you've been doing is historic. And it's historic in the sense that it's the first time so many diverse groups and survivors have come together to organize and to mobilize and move the coalition forward. It's a lot like what happened here at actually first meeting of survivors in 1992, and I'm sure Tom Doyle can tell you more about that. But what I'd like to say today to you and conclude is with a couple thoughts. You as survivors first are heroes of your own lives. You don't always know it, you don't always feel it, and you need to hear and live it. You need to come to believe it, because you not only are heroes, you are heroes of your own lives. And every time you speak not on behalf of yourself, you speak on behalf of those other kids who need you, who are at peril because of the systemic cover-up of sexual abuse in our families, in our churches, in our synagogues, and in particularly the hierarchy of the Catholic Church. And you have found the strength to begin to deal with the pain and vanquish the secrecy and the shame that was imposed upon you as vulnerable adults or young children. And now that you've found your voice and you're in attendance there, having shared your secret, it's the beginning of a new life built on hope, built on the spirit and the triumph born of trauma. And I commend you, and I am touched to be a part of it, and touched to be speaking to you today, and touched to be invited to speak and share this journey, because it's born of hope, it's born of healing, it's born of the desire to protect other kids. And every time you speak, up and out, every time you act to do something more than what you could do in the past, you have been and made the difference of being a part of an effort to save other children. And you can know that every day that you've spoken up and out, you have saved another child whose name you'll never have to know. So from my heart to yours, thank you for the courage you have demonstrated, for the voice that you have found, and for the difference you've made in those lives of those other kids who will never have to say thank you to you for what you've done. And thank you from my heart to your brave hearts, because I'm grateful for this journey shared, for the love you've given, for the tireless selflessness that you have demonstrated, and for this work that is yet to be done, because we have only just begun. Thank you all for your courage. You inspire, you strengthen, and from you I draw mine. Good day, good journey. Hope to be with you in body soon, in spirit always. Bye.